Father. Well, you see, I don't really have a father, yeah, but to be honest, I do, in fact, have. As a matter of fact, I'm actually the father of 9 children. So, in the same way, as a caring and loving father, I want.
The children were proud of you.
Yes, for the children, exactly. That's it. Well, I always say, I can't say that I was an ideal Muslim or anything like that, you know? But from a certain point on, probably when I was about 45 years old, that's when I realized that if you truly put your trust in the Almighty, you know? I often, by the way, in chats, when talking with users, I say that faith is the strongest tool. So I weighed all the pros and cons. I acted with, well, I had pure intentions. Of course, I understand that besides intentions, you also need to know if you have any resources, where to start, and so on. Well, I had a rough plan. That's it. And thank God. And there are good people in the world, and some guys responded, people who work well in this field and so on. That's it. We launched this project, and thank God, by the grace of the Almighty, we've been in the market and working for 18 months now. As for whether everything is working out or not, well, in any case, we're doing our best. And everything we claim, let's say in the market, yes, what we have, maybe, sir, we might be a little behind on some products and so on, but everything we announce is not like those soap bubbles where the admins of projects that are already in the trash somewhere in scrums, they're just, well, like a soap bubble. I actually try to break the standards of this business. So, well, and to all the users and leaders in this network, I say the same thing. You don't need to live by, you know, some set standards. We're probably something different. That's it. The point of no return? I think, well, it seems to me that for many people, yes, the point of no return is, at least as I see it, when life has to hit you somewhere, right? To your pride and so on. And, well, if you have some kind of inner core, you should, I don't know, something inside you should awaken, whether it's ego driving you or not, right? Money. Well, those who know me, thank God I'm sure of that. Let them say, have money ever been a priority in my life or not? They haven't, and they never will be. Honestly, I really, truly, absolutely want to see this project through to the very end. I honestly don't know exactly how long it will last. Maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, or perhaps even longer than that, and so on. Maybe I won't be around. But in my case, the most convincing argument in my favor is that you'd have to be a real cynic to bet on this. Yes, to stake everything if I had some dirty intentions. Saying one thing in public, but inside, let's say, I was only driven by selfish motives, by greed and so on. The most precious thing to me is my son. That's it. He's just like me. He's everywhere, online. He talks to everyone. We officially registered. That's it. I know that even what I'm saying right now, it's up to you to decide. If you want to publish this, go ahead. If not, that's fine too. I can even draw a parallel here. Look, when I say that I did market research, yes, I really did it. I know a lot of admins actually who launched these projects, and I know what motivated them. Of course, I won't mention their names. That's their personal space. But let's take a look. Surely someone else must have done this kind of research too. In all the projects that turned out to be scams, as a rule, the admins would disappear afterwards, leave, and you wouldn't hear from them anymore, and so on. Even if I dare to assume, but I'll say it again, I always repeat, don't forget the law of physics, the law of gravity, the extent to which you believe, the extent to which you think, that's exactly how much you'll succeed. But nevertheless, in case of force majeure, if suddenly something goes wrong, I definitely won't be the person who runs away or disappears. And I have the right to do so. Even in that previous project which I was involved in, I also, by the way, on stage, at the company's anniversary celebration, you were actually the one hosting the event, if I remember correctly. I allowed myself right there on stage to say that those leaders who claim to be leaders and say that others can't call themselves leaders, well, if they're calling themselves leaders, it must mean they had some kind of results in previous projects, right? But why did I feel I could say that? Because in my opinion, only someone who actually brought people in, let's say you started it, people joined because of your influence, can call themselves a leader. You initiated it, you explained it, you promoted it, people believed you and joined the project, but in the end the project collapsed and those people were left with nothing. In other words, they didn't get what you promised them from the project. At the very least, as a leader, if you consider yourself a leader, if you want to call yourself a leader, you must justify their trust and at least make sure those people don't end up with losses. I can say this because personally, and anyone can confirm this, I made sure everyone was covered. That's it. That's the minimum, at least regarding the project. And in general, there are basically two different versions, or models, let's say, for the project as a whole. I understand that, for example, when the project eventually scales up and grows larger over time, the number of users will naturally increase and the cash flow will be, I don't know, in the billion, and so on and so forth. You know, as these things tend to happen, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Well, at least that's what we can reasonably expect. And any reasonable person who has at least some understanding of this business realizes that, by the way, the financial model can't even remain stable for a year. It is constantly changing. That's it. And by the way, a person who, let's say a businessman, right, or a founder who wants to enter this business and market, at the very least should have an approach to sources of generation that is not like what those admins used to say, that we have a digital bot or a team of traders and so on, and that this is the main source. I'm telling you right away, those people who say that, it means that 99.9% of the time, this project is a scam and they have only one goal and they know it themselves. They're just taking advantage of your naivety and of the users as well. Maybe for some leaders, this actually works in their favor. They probably even calculate when the project will collapse and so on. That's it. There are actually a lot of these kinds of situations here. And that's why, understanding this, I know that, let's say, there will be 5, 6, 7 billion and so on. It's possible that I won't be able to handle the flow of money from the generation anymore. In any case, in every, I don't know, financial flow or direction, or even the same generation, the source of the generation tool, it definitely has some limits. We have those limits and I won't disclose them. And if I realize that I can't handle this generation, our company is already up and running, and just like the terms for those entering the project, we have an annual contract. That is, throughout the year, you receive your 8 to 12%. That's it. And in the end, when the term is over, you have the right to withdraw your deposit. So if at any point I realize that I can't keep up, I'll simply announce it in the chat and tell the leaders not to bring in any more new users. That's it. As for the remaining users, we won't just withdraw at break even, so to speak, but we will simply fulfill all the obligations we made to users, and that won't be difficult. Believe me, before giving this answer, we calculated everything, sat down and worked through 2, 3, even 4 different models, for example, also modeling the inflows. There is another model. We position ourselves as an IT company. We have an exchange wallets and we create products. So we can simply and smoothly move away from liabilities and switch to, let's say, product commissions, which will already generate profit. That's all there is to it. But I have said it before, and I won't get tired of repeating it. In this company, no matter how hard things get, no matter how hard, they will always have one thing. I know what I'm talking about. I've said it before, and everyone around me knows, yes, I'm a family man. I have 5 children with a big age gap between the oldest and youngest because I wanted to spend more time with my family. But I swear you've been to my place, you drop by from time to time. It's like I see them, and at the same time, I don't really see them. I live and breathe this project because I've never been so obsessed in my life just to make sure all of this works. And I want to thank my friends here, yes, the ones I've considered friends and so on. It was exactly their attitude, their lack of appreciation that pushed me to do this. That's all there is to it. So, by the way, you can make a cut here too. Look, I always say, you really need to think about this. I'm saying this with complete sincerity right now. The strongest tool, the most powerful tool, I swear, is faith. I'm telling you honestly. Faith and, trust in the Almighty. I sincerely feel for those who don't believe, yes, in the Almighty. I truly wish for everyone to find a connection with Him. That's it. To find a connection with Him. And I think you have to be an optimist in life. Just be an optimist. Did you fall? That's it. Take a step back and move on. You can fall, I don't know how many times, there are so many examples, right? Let's say even businessmen, I'm not going to list them all now, how many times they fell and look at what they become now. That's all there is to it. To the question, scaling up, do I, for example, have the desire to be number one in the market and so on? No, absolutely not. I'll just explain why. There are many examples, right? For instance, the company. That's it. I think happiness loves silence. You don't have to be first in the market. Why do you need that fame and so on? The most important question is, what are you doing it for and why? And for whom? So, I'll repeat myself. Those who know me know that I generally I try to live by the principle, don't look for good when you already have good. I know for sure that you can't build happiness on someone else's misfortune. That's why, in many ways, a lot ultimately depends not only on me as the founder of the company, but also on each and every one of the users in their own way who choose to come and participate here. These things, yes, these moments, how do I put it? I think they are all links in the same chain. How much we believe in each other, how much we communicate, yes, and believe in what we're doing. From my personal perspective, in my honest opinion, I honestly think that's simply the most absolutely fundamental and critical factor in whether you succeed or not. If there's no faith at all, I truly think you're basically completely doomed to failure.